Paul Kolbe, thank you so much for being here with the Cipher Brief for these dispatches from Kyiv. You were in Kyiv with the Cipher Brief twice last year, about a year ago, and then again just 6 months ago. I really wonder, what is the biggest change you've noticed this time around?
Biggest change is a sense of fatigue, a sense of the streets being quieter. It's a more somber place than when we first came here almost a year ago. There's determination, though I'd say it's a grim determination because people are feeling the costs of war.
What were the key things from the several high-level meetings that you participated in that really jumped out at you? And what is your sense of the resolve of the Ukrainian people as they continue to lose men and women at the front while waiting for this assistance package from Washington?
Look, Ukraine knows what they're fighting for. The men at the front, the people in Kyiv, the government, private sector, they all know what they're fighting for. They know they're fighting an existential war against an implacable enemy. Russia wants to take over, subjugate, destroy the leadership in Ukraine, take it in as part of the new Russian empire. They know they're fighting against this. They're fighting for their survival. With that, there's a tremendous spirit of national unity. Even though there are political issues that they're dealing with, hard choices about conscription. At what age do men go serve? How do they keep an economy going when they've got more than 1 million men under arms? How do you sustain a fight with less ammunition than you need, waiting for more help to come from the West? They're very grateful what they've gotten. They understand they could not be in this fight without the help they've gotten from the United States and from Europe. And they count on that continued help.
You know, Paul, General David Petraeus had a really excellent piece that was published in the Cipher Brief talking about how Russia is planning a renewed offensive while Washington's sort of dragging its feet on this aid package. What are officials in Kyiv expecting this summer?
Well, I think there's an expectation that Russia will mobilize more troops, that it will launch an offensive in late spring or sometime in the summer. They know that they have to take the blows that Russia will hand to them. They will be a rock on which Russian forces will break. They've got the motivation. They will get the weapons. They certainly have the capability and the manpower. But it's going to be a tough year for them. It's a defensive year. They have to defeat the offensives coming up, and then they have to be able to pivot to take advantage of the Russian defeats.
Do you think that Americans broadly understand what's at stake here?
I think most Americans, when you talk to them in cafes, or you talk to them in groups, that they understand the values that Ukraine is fighting for. I'm not sure everybody understands the full effect that a loss would mean, what that means for U.S. security, what it means for what happens next in Europe, what it means for how China reads the tea leaves, so to speak, and then takes messages from whether the U.S. and the West go wobbly on support for Ukraine, to which it's pledged its aid. If we abandon them now, they'll know that we won't stand with Taiwan when the time comes. I think there's also been little appreciation for some of the tremendous successes that Ukraine has had. They have waged an incredible asymmetric war with hardly a navy, taking out the Russian Black Sea Fleet. They've removed the fleet from Crimea back to Novorossiysk into Russian territory. They've been able to export their grain, their ores, keeping vital sea lanes open. They've also carried the war into Russia with homegrown weapons, with deep strikes of depth and incredible precision. Their hits on airfields, on aircraft concentrations, on oil and gas facilities, in particular refineries, are extraordinarily important, both in reducing Russia's capability to wage the war and in providing a real morale boost to Ukrainian citizenry. I think back on the storied Billy Mitchell raid on Tokyo after Pearl Harbor, when he flew a group of B-25s and for the first bombing of Tokyo. A strike against enemy territory was an incredibly important morale boost for the American people at that time. Ukraine is doing more than that. They're going after Russia's capability to wage war.
Paul Kolbe, thank you so much for being here with the Cipher Brief for Dispatches from Kyiv.